Hi, this is Ed Breniger, Circle of Impact Leadership. And I have said in the past that when I have something to share with you about this experience of the coronavirus, I will come back to you with something. And I have something for you today. I think it'll be helpful. If you'd like to see what I've said before, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's simply Ed Breniger, and you can find a range of videos there. And you can subscribe there and hit the bell so you can get notifications. What I'd like to talk about today is the sense that it's quite possible that we're in for a long period of confinement in our homes. As we had our first coronavirus person to be infected here in Jackson yesterday. And so, we all wonder, well, how many more will happen here? And and I know that's a question that everyone is having there. I'm thinking in terms of reflecting back, 10, 12 years when we had the Great Recession, and what people did then as a way of coping with this kind of dramatic change in our life experience. And back then, I found people who kind of pulled back from their businesses and said, we're not going to take on anything new. We're not going to try anything new. We're just going to wait this out, hoping that things will return to normal, believing that it was. And the reality is that it didn't return to normal. It was a game changer. It was a different world after the recession ran its course. And there are many people, many companies, organizations that do not exist today because they made that decision to be passive and wait for things to change. And I don't think that's a very wise thing. I don't think it's wise at any point in time, either in good or hard times. But I think in hard times, it's not a time of waiting, because you become subject to the circumstances of the world around you, instead of saying, okay, I want to be really clear about where we are and where I am and what is going on and what is it that I need to do differently in order to prepare myself, not only to get through this situation that we're in, but to be really ready for a better time that is going to come after this is over. And I believe that better times will come, but they're different times than what we have known. And I think this is especially going to be true because this virus situation is touching so many different parts of our lives that we really need to step back and kind of look at who we are. So the question that I continue to ask of myself is, so what is it that I see changing in me? How am I in transition? What kind of transition do I actually want to go through? If this is going to last for 2 or 3 months, how do I want to be in the midst of this confined space of time? And I think it's important because I also sense that for many people, they're unaware of actually who they are. And I say that having talked to hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people over the last 2 or 3 years, as I completed my book, and the book was published, and the book became a means of promoting myself throughout the country. And by traveling around the country, I would ask questions of people. And it was clear to me that they had no real clear sense of who they were. They knew what they liked. They knew who they were in the sense of, well, I live in this place, and I'm married to this person, and I have these children. This is the kind of work I do. But when you ask them, so what's important to you? They would have a difficult time answering that question. And people would say, I would say to them, well, are you in transition? And they would say, yeah, I am, but they wouldn't understand what that meant. It was just a feeling they were having. And so we would address in the conversation in 5 or 10 minutes, finding out what's important and what do they want to give themselves to, and what is the kind of change they would like to see happen in their life. So I'm asking this of you. So if you were to look over the next 2 months and ask yourself, at the end of this period of time, these 2 months, what is it that I'd like to see have changed in my life during this time? And when you can put your focus on some specific change that you would like to see, then it gives you a focus and it gives you a set of priorities. And then all this other stuff that keeps coming at us from all these different directions begins to take on less importance. And we do not feel as a great a need to respond to them. And instead, we're responding to our own sense of purpose and our own sense of vision for where I want to be in 2 months. So how do we get there? How do you get there? Well, I think part of it is how we structure each day, particularly if each day is going to be spent inside, in our homes, away from people, except for our families. And I would suggest that, and this is particularly for those of you who have never done this sort of thing, is that you carve out some specific time every day to spend it in quiet. You may be a person who likes to meditate, and so if you do, meditate. But if you're not a meditator, it's important for you just to be quiet and allow for the stimulation. I mean, think about our five senses of sight, sound, smell, touch, and hearing. Those five senses get flooded every day with stimulus. And that stimulus is requiring us to respond to it. And so what I'm suggesting is you get into a chair and you're quiet and you block out all the stimulus, the sound and the noise, and you close your eyes and you sit there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and allow your breath to take you down to a place of quiet. And then listen to what's going on in your mind and in your heart. And when you hear something really specific, you should write it down. Keep a pad of paper and a pen with you and write it down. And when you're done, get up and go do what you need to do. Go fix lunch or go do the laundry for the kids, whatever it may be that you're having to do. Go make that business phone call. But you will have had a moment to kind of reorient yourself and to begin to think about, okay, what is the change I want to see in my life during these 2 months or 3 months or whatever it may be while I'm confined in my home with my family? If you want to talk about this, we can talk about this. I'm glad to do so. Just email me at ed@edbreniger.com and we'll set up a time to talk. And if you're interested in more of what I've been saying on this topic or in other topics, there's a lot of material that is on my YouTube channel. So you can go to find Ed Breniger there, subscribe so you can get notifications that something new has been posted there. And we'll go through this together. And I appreciate your thoughts and your comments because they feed me in the sense of understanding where I'm fitting into the larger social culture of this world that we're all in. So I thank you for watching, and I will see you quite soon. Bye-bye.